Planning events and activities is the core of society and club life. Students with disabilities should be included at these activities. This video will take you through an example based on the Sign Language Society Silent Disco event in 2019, and it will show you how to incorporate accessibility and inclusion into the different steps of planning an activity. Accessibility means more than just physical access, and hopefully this will give you some ideas on how you can incorporate this in your club or society.
So Disability Week was coming up, and myself and the Science Soc Committee were looking for an event that covered a wide range of accessibility issues and for people to learn more sign language. So we decided on hosting a silent disco. So this meant that all attendees would have headphones on and then they wouldn't be able to hear their friends. So that meant that it was just showing what it's like for a deaf person that communicates through Irish Sign Language, how important it is to learn sign language to communicate with people who are deaf. So we also, during the event, we would have had a projector with videos of fun Irish Sign Language signs like dancing and cocktail, so that people could have fun while learning Irish Sign Language. But it was also an accessible event for those with sensory processing issues, because with the headphones you could take them off if you needed to, or you could adjust the volume. And everybody was also inclusive because everybody was wearing headphones, so nobody stood out from the crowd. So we already knew ourselves that some nightclubs in Dublin are not accessible, so we made sure to spend a lot of time researching and planning a venue that was accessible. So we contacted a venue and they said they had level entry and was wheelchair accessible. So then we went ahead with that, and yeah, I think with planning in advance it really helped to try and find an accessible venue. We promoted the silent disco through our Facebook event, and in the event we would have had graphics having an accessibility statement saying that the nightclub was wheelchair accessible and that had a wheelchair level bar as well and accessible facilities, and then if anybody had any additional requirements that they could contact our accessibility and inclusion officer. It was really important to us that all attendees felt welcomed and included at the event. So all committee members during the night welcomed all attendees and interacted with them throughout the night, especially if they were on their own. And there was also a lot of seating areas for people if they wanted to take a break, that they could do that whenever they felt like it. I think the silent disco was a success because we did spend a lot of time trying to find an accessible nightclub and didn't just settle for one that was only a little bit accessible. So it was good that we did find a nightclub that was accessible for those with physical disabilities. So when we reflected on the accessibility of the event, we realised that our graphic wasn't that accessible as the contrast between the colours was too low. But after this, our PRO would have went through the Disability Service website and guidance on how to make an accessible graphic, so that we know what to do going forward.
Accessibility and inclusion is a really important step that clubs and society should consider throughout the planning process. You can find out more specific information like how to book an accessible space in Trinity in the Towards Inclusive Clubs and Societies guidelines.